He had 2 chances to catch it. We'll check the infraction because there's a flag down.
Saskatchewan was going with the safety blitz. Bomadelli Ali comes up with a tip drill interception.
Holding. British Columbia 64. Decline. First down, Saskatchewan.
The holding on Mo Elowanibi is going to be obviously wiped out. Here comes the safety blitz from Curtis Gallick, number 25. Damon Allen sees it. It's picked up by Robert Drummond, so he has lots of time. But you see Willie Pless getting his hand on the football. That started things off, and Bomadelli Ali finished it.
3rd interception of the season for the Riders, who had a big goose egg up there as they started against Edmonton last week. So Ali comes up with a big play. The interception, first turnover of the game, setting the Roughriders up inside BC territory at the 53. Mike Saunders. Play a little slow in developing. Saunders was able to grab a couple. And Smith was there to apply the tackle.
Great game that Mike Saunders had last week. 164 yards. And you look at that average, 6.1 yards per game. Well, midway through the 3rd quarter last week, the Saskatchewan Roughriders were averaging 7.5 yards basically on first down. And anytime you can do that, your offensive playbook is wide open. You can run the ball on 2nd down or throw it.
Saunders also had a couple of receptions last week for 23 yards, making it 187 yards from scrimmage. So it was a terrific week, and he is the player of the week offensively in the CFL. Heats on. Sarkisian is down. David Benefield, 3rd sack of the season for number 56.
The Don Lindsay defense will give you a lot of different looks, and it's confusing at times. Benefield comes off the edge, and you'd think that, you know, the tackle or the guard out there, Ben Fairbrother, is going to step out to get him. Well, they count wrong. Fairbrother steps down. Benefield is free. Sarkisian doesn't have any chance to throw the football. When you give teams different looks defensively, the offensive linemen have to start counting who they're going to block. Sometimes if you can confuse them, you can get a guy free, and Benefield was that guy.
Callum got a pretty good punt away the first time, 45 yards. And this time he'll line up back at his 35. Still no score at BC Place. The Riders fail to even get a first down on the turnover, but they'll gain on field position here with McCallum in.
Yeah, so far they're winning the field position battle, and that's half of it.
Yeah, that's a pretty nice kick to Jimmy Cunningham down at the 10. Cunningham ran with a lot of confidence last week, well covered by Saskatchewan special teams after a 9-yard return. Punt traveled 49. First down BC when we return.
Swipe your club card.
Welcome back to the stadium at BC Place in Vancouver. We're early in the opening quarter as the Lions and the Roughriders both try and respond from victories last week. Let's bring in Farhan Louser.
Thanks, John. You'll see plenty of Rider fans here at this game at BC Place, and they'll probably be happy to see their team, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, in their green uniforms. BC, on the other hand, they're wearing their traditional road whites. They probably wish this was a road game. They're a perfect 4-0 away from BC Place, just 1-2 here at home. And Lions coach Greg Mons told me that if Glenn Suter will donate some of his big TSN salary before next week's game, they might try to simulate some more conditions and stay in a hotel.
No shot.
Not a chance. Wasn't even a good idea.
Well, you know, they're trying everything they can. They had a team meal before this one, trying to simulate their routine on the road, and the only thing they have left to do is, like Farhan mentioned, was to rent a hotel room and have people stay in there. But you don't want to do that, especially when you have the family and kids. You want to spend as much time as you can with them.
Alfred Jackson close to a first down on his first reception. Lions are out trying to cross the 30 for a first down here, and easily enough accomplished there. To win tonight, here's what the BC Lions will have to do.
Well, they have to get some consistency out of their offensive line. Sometimes they look great and dominate like they did versus Hamilton, and sometimes they fall off the board. Look at the numbers when they win on the ground. 194 yards average. That's the whole team. 88 in the 2 losses. Obviously, that's important. They got to take Saunders out of the game defensively, and they got to keep it simple here at home. They're struggling at home, and one of the reasons you do that is sometimes you may try and put on too much of a show when you're in front of your home fans. They got to get back to fundamentals, play football, and execute like they do on the road, and they'll be fine.
Executed very well last week. That Ivor win in Hamilton. Very impressive victory. Allen from the shotgun has Eddie Brown. Brown is surrounded by green shirts and finds a way to escape to the far side. He's got more waiting for him over there. It was a long run to grab a couple of yards.
Yeah, he ran 50 yards to get 2, but it starts out with just one of those ugly passes. I mean, Damon Allen, this one kind of slips. It's just an ugly floater ball. He gets it over there. There's nothing at the point of attack. You see the great pursuit by the Saskatchewan defense, have him hemmed in. So Eddie Brown tries back the other way. Can't get much out of it that side either. You know, we haven't talked about Drummond yet. And again,
not really.
Saskatchewan starts out going with play action to Saunders, and now Drummond's not being used out of the tailback position. Both offensive coordinators switching a little bit here.
On 2nd and 8, there's some movement down there, and penalty markers are down. 9:25 to go in the opening quarter at BC Place Stadium. 5-2 Lions.
64. Second down repeated.
Well,
Against the 2-5 Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Mo Eluanibi has struggled a little bit in the last series for BC. Got the holding call and just got that penalty as well. And Mo Eluanibi has played all season with a slightly separated shoulder. And that's tough because those linemen up there have to use their hands and their arms to keep the defensive linemen away from their body. And if your shoulder's got that much pain in it, you know that Mo Eluanibi has the high pain threshold.
Penalty makes it 2nd and 13. Deep drop. Damon Allen. He has a target. It's Jackson over the middle, and Jackson gets great yardage here, sliding safely at the 45. Why did he go down?
Well, I'm a little surprised that he did slide down. He made the nice catch, and I thought he was going to make a move at the point of attack, but obviously thought that he was being hemmed in and took the gain. A good throw by Damon Allen. He's got the passing lane up front. You see there's no pressure from the Saskatchewan defense. Damon Allen has a coffee back there before he delivers the throw, and then just a little bit of a surprise right here with the slide. I mean, 3-man rush for Saskatchewan, so obviously they're outnumbered. I mean, there's 1, 2, and just 3, but look at the passing lanes for Damon Allen.
After a 38-yard gain, a 2-yard gain for Robert Drummond. .653 yards rushing for Drummond, 4 touchdowns. Best game of '99 was 159 yards against Calgary. Last week's wasn't all that bad against Hamilton.
Oh yeah, he had a great game, and then when Mark Dorr came in, he also played well, replacing Robert Drummond when he had that ankle injury. He still has a bit of a tender ankle, but not enough to keep him out of the lineup.
Allen to his right, looking deep for Blair. Blair goes up and gets it. Don Blair, great catch, as he slipped in behind Mark Tates and knew exactly where the ball was going to be.
Well, first of all, you got to give a lot of praise to Damon Allen, because Damon Allen had confidence in his receiver. The quarterback rolls. I watch Damon Allen. What he's looking at right now is blanket coverage by Mark Tate on Don Blair. But he decides to throw it anyway because he feels like and has confidence that his receiver and Don Blair will win the one-on-one battle for the football. And Don Blair times his jump perfectly to come up with it.
35 yards for Blair. A couple of plays after Alfred Jackson picked up big yardage too. So the Lions drive is very much alive inside the 10-yard line now. And it's 1st and goal to go from the 7. Drummond has 1, maybe 2 yards. Tough sledding against that side of the Rider defense. Pless has moved up from his linebacking spot to help out Young.
What a play that Willie Pless made last week. With the Edmonton Eskimos having a chance in Marcus Crandall to put together the game-winning drive in the dying seconds, Willie Pless came up and stopped the 3rd down gamble in its tracks.
And all Edmonton needed at that point was a field goal.
That's
to
right.
Steal it back, right?
That's right. And, you know, they were about 3 first downs away. Willie Pless denied it. Said, no, sir.
Lions now at the Rough Rider 5-yard line. 2nd and goal to go from there. Allen looks to the end zone, escapes a couple of players, and looks for Cunningham. A little too far for Jimmy the Jet. He couldn't fire up fast enough, and there really wasn't any end zone left.
No, and he threw it out there so that maybe only Jimmy the Jet could come up with it, and it couldn't be intercepted because he was also covered. But pretty good pressure by Arkel Trulak off the edge. That flushed him out of the pocket. Now he's just trying to throw it to the back of the end zone, and if this receiver comes up with a tremendous play, they get it. If not, it goes right to the turf, and they put the field goal team on.
Lucas Aglia, first kick of the evening, 10 of 16, his longest 39. Still bothered by an abdominal strain. But no problem for Lou there as the Lions are on the scoreboard first at BC Place. Nice drive for Greg Mons. The Lions have 3, the Riders 0. We're getting ready for a doubleheader on Adidas Friday Night Football. Toronto versus Montreal kicks it all off 7 o'clock Eastern. Then Glenn and I will watch that at Commonwealth and get ready for Hamilton versus Edmonton, another key game. So Matt Dunnigan, Rod Smith will be in Montreal for game 1 tomorrow night on doubleheader Friday. Saskatchewan down 3-0 beginning at the 35, first down. Sarkisian onto the cover, and he has Mike Saunders with a lot of room to spare. Saunders ran by one Lion defender at the 40-yard line. Biggest play of the night for the Roughriders. Covers 35 yards.
Mike Saunders gets outside leverage on the man who's trying to cover him, and that was Keith Franklin. He gets outside of him. Keith Franklin doesn't keep leverage to the outside. Saunders gets out there, picks up that little pass, and takes off running.
Some kind of speed on Franklin, though. He was beaten and caught up to make the tackle. So after a 38-yard gain, Saskatchewan at the 40-yard line of the Lions, and Saunders never even got started. Johnny Scott made the tackle. He was there, ready and waiting.
Well, for Saskatchewan to win this football game, first of all, I think they have to have success on first down, just like they did last week. Last week, 7.1 yards on first down. That's huge success. You can get that done, you're going to win a lot of football games. They got to force some turnovers. Their first 2 interceptions of the season last week, and that led to 10 points, and it was enough for the victory and overcome the distractions. Of course, Reggie Slack is back in the lineup on the sideline. They have to overcome any distraction that might be.
Sarkisian is picked off. Carthon has another interception for the BC Lions and is still going. Broke away from another tackle, and finally it's Sarkisian over to make the stop. What a great return by Reggie Carthon after the interception, and another costly interception for the Roughriders quarterback Steve Sarkisian, his 11th of the season.
Here they are right here. Here they are coming across the middle right here. And watch the break on the football by Reggie Carthon. He just beats Curtis Mayfield to the ball. Mayfield slipped and couldn't come back and become the defender. That's been the problem for Steve Sarkisian. He hasn't played badly, and he put together good drives last week to win the football game, but he's had that one play that has hurt him. The one interception here and there. Of course, he's thrown 3 interceptions for touchdowns.
Allen on first down after the turnover, looking to the corner, and he just missed Don Blair. Coverage supplied by Todd McMillan, and the fans here want a penalty. On the sidelines, if Sarkisian falters tonight, Reggie Slack back in the lineup and waiting. He's listed as number 2. Cal Murphy says he wouldn't hesitate to go back to him in spite of all Slack's problems in the last couple of weeks.
Well, Reggie, according to him, is ready to play. I don't think I will play tonight. Obviously, it's going to be a matter of how Steve is doing. But when you talk to Reggie, he'll say, you know, I'm ready to go. And like you mentioned, John, Cal has mentioned that he will be in the game should Steve Sarkisian not get it done. Now, Sarkisian over the last couple of weeks has had the opportunity to make mistakes and come back and battle through them, and he may not get that opportunity tonight.
Here's Allen. Down the other side for Brown, and he missed the target that time. Tate was covering, and he got a little backup help there from Douglas Kraft.
Well, Damon Allen hasn't had a lot of success throwing the ball deep. Just that one to Don Blair that they've caught, but they've tried to go deep a couple of times to Don Blair and to Eddie Brown. It hasn't worked. But what it does is it stretches the defense. Now they get on their back pedal. They got to turn their feet and get back there and get that deep coverage. Joe Paopao knows as the game progresses, that could pay dividends, because then you can come back, open up the underneath patterns as the game goes on, and get some more receivers involved.
Lucas Aglia is in his second try of the night from 12 earlier, and he's got this one with 4 inches to spare. So the Lions, back-to-back field goals, have a 6-0 lead on the Riders. Rider coach Cal Murphy feeling a little more comfortable with Reggie Slack back in the lineup, and he got a call from Reggie last week, and that's basically where they've taken it from there.
I guess it's about 2 weeks now since he called me, and after that phone call, you know, I told him at the end of the phone call, I really felt good after him calling because things were different, and it was like a load was off his mind, and to me right now, I'm happy he's back, and as far as I'm concerned, he looks good at practice, but I don't think there's anybody that knows people that have had a problem or whatever. Somewhere in their lives, they can't be happier than when somebody recovers from something, and everybody's pulling for him.
So Slack on the sideline, Sarkisian in the ballgame making his 5th start tonight, and it's a struggle for Sarkisian right now. 1 of 4 for 35 yards and 1 interception.
Yeah, and you have to wonder if he is looking over his shoulder now with Reggie Slack on that sideline. Of course, everyone wishes Reggie Slack well in his recovery, but you got to wonder how it will upset the balance of this football team at this point.
Riders trailing by 6. This is 2nd and 10. Sarkisian stands in and fires one right on the money. Mike Saunders has done most of it for Saskatchewan so far tonight.
Yeah, but most of it's been through the air, John. I mean, Mike Saunders has got out of the backfield and caught a couple of passes. That's usually what he's known for. Last week he had the big running game, and both teams really not involving their running backs in the run early. We haven't talked much about Robert Drummond and not about Mike Saunders running the football. Now, he has come up with some big catches.
So it's 3rd down, less than a yard to go, and the Riders are gambling in the opening quarter here at the stadium at BC Place. You've got Saunders in the backfield, and Sarkisian should be able to fall for this if he decides to. Well, actually, he went right over the top, enough for the 1st down.
Well, you know, those kind of plays are just get down and get low. And Steve Sarkisian told me before the game that he really enjoys playing against Johnny Scott. Not only because he's one of the best in the league at his position, and players love to play against the good players because it's a challenge, but also because Johnny Scott never stops talking. And they're, of course, nose to nose because Scott's right in the middle. So Scott's talking to Sarkisian, and that gets him fired up, and he loves it. They have a lot of fun.
From the 46, Riders 1st down. Sarkisian with time, and Farthing had to go high to get a hand on it, couldn't bring it down. So not even a near miss there.
Well, this is where you start to question, what is Steve Sarkisian thinking? He's been struggling in this football game. Last week had a good enough game to win it, but he did have a couple of bad plays. Think of the Doug Peterson interception for a touchdown. You know, now Reggie Slack is standing over there, and Cal Murphy won't hesitate to get the hook out.
Slack says he's ready. Murphy thinks he is as well. 2nd and 10, Saskatchewan. Here's the heat. Sarkisian read it well, had Mayfield, and Mayfield flat out dropped the football. Not the quarterback's problem.
No, this one should go down in the stats under number 89. I thought Curtis Mayfield had a great game last week in that win versus Edmonton. He was playing very aggressively. You see him come back to the football like he should. He just doesn't finish the play. He's going to be in an interesting matchup all game because he's lining up primarily against Dale Joseph for the BC Lions. And we talked earlier in this game about how well Dale Joseph has been playing. So we'll watch and see if Curtis Mayfield can shake him.
Roughriders have to kick it away again, and Jimmy the Jet waits at his 20-yard line. There's a beauty from Paul McCallum down to the 21, and here's the Jet ready for takeoff. Grounded early. So where's Robert Drummond been in the offense of the BC Lions so far tonight? 3 carries for 7 yards.
Not involved enough. You know, Robert Drummond needs to see the football handed to him at least 20 times in the game, and that's what has brought the BC Lions success when they do win. Robert Drummond is the key to that. So Joe Palpel starts the game trying to switch it up a little bit and stretch that defense, going deep a couple of times, and I wouldn't be surprised at all to see him go right back to his horse and Robert Drummond.
Alfred Jackson comes to the near side. There's 2 receivers split to the far side of the field on first down BC. Drummond got the ball, bobbled it, and it bounced right back into his hands. Rather, Mark Nora, the carry there. He had a good week last week too, blocking for Drummond and also carrying the ball himself.
Yeah, this is Mark Nora. He is carrying the football pretty well. He says to me that he's concerned more about his blocking than running. He got the lucky bounce there.
Absolutely. And a 6-yard gain.
Yeah.
So Drummond takes a rest at the BC bench. Some early movement there as the Lions go with another receiver. Jimmy Cunningham slips in, but they didn't have the formation set properly.
Well, it looks like the Lions have come up with a bunch of different formations for this game, because on that play,
Legal procedure, BC 61. Second down repeated.
that was on Steve Harden. On that play, the Lions had both Robert Drummond and Mark Nora standing on the sideline, so they were playing with 6 receivers. That's something we haven't seen them do all season, or very, very seldom. So Joe Paopao adding a couple more wrinkles for this game, and as the season progresses, you got to do that. You got to expand your playbook.
With a procedure penalty, this is 2nd down and 8. Lions back inside the 30. Allen will put it up. Jackson is the target. He hangs on, and that should be a BC first down, as he was wrapped up by Tates, but he had enough for the first down. So it's been all Lions so far, but just a couple of field goals on the scoreboard at BC Place after 1 quarter.
You're watching the CFL Live, and we're at the quarter. Brought to you by 1-800-HI It's Me. It's the cheapest way to call. Collect.
Hey everybody, James Duffy back at TSN Football Control. And you know, momentum and confidence, 2 very important things, especially when you're a team that is struggling and the confidence is a lot more fragile, and that confidence perhaps not shattered for Saskatchewan in the first quarter, but Matt Dunnigan at least cracked a little bit, and early.
Yeah, and it doesn't help Steve Sarkisian out at all, James, when you have a breakdown of protection in the first series of the ball game. You want to keep the momentum going from last week, and here we see Steve Sarkisian in a simple pass protection. The center's going to make a slide call or Louis call. He's going to stay here. This man's going to slide left, take the center. He's going to take the blitzing linebacker. He's going to go on the rush end, and he's going to bump out to linebacker. Sean Daniels has to come over here and pick up David Benefield, who eventually comes untouched and sacks Sarkisian. So Steve Sarkisian is getting off to a shaky start, and people may be saying, oh, he didn't read the blitz. He didn't get rid of the football. He's taking another sack. That's not Steve Sarkisian. Sean Daniels missed an opportunity, so you have a situation where a young quarterback needs to get off a good start, got a breakdown up front, James, and it's simple mathematics. Later on they came, and Sean Daniels went over the backside and picked it up cleanly.
Now, Chris, as a guy who loved contact, you didn't like a play you saw.
No, not at all. Alfred Jackson, I cannot figure you out at all, because you got to have 12 people battling, and on this play, I only saw 11. Nice throw by Damon Allen. Nice catch by Alfred Jackson. Why are you sliding? Why are you hitting to the ground? Break it to the outside, go down the sideline, put your head down. That's a poor play by a veteran player, James.
All right, now one other game in the CFL tonight. Calgary taking on Winnipeg, and Bomber fans, hide your eyes or run or something, because it is not pretty.